Welcome back to another episode of When Life Gives You Lemons. I'm your host, Anna, your Gen X coach. Today, I want to talk about a concept I call Why Not Me? Sounds odd, right? We're more used to hearing why me, a phrase we often say when something bad happens. It's typically about misfortune, about feeling like life is happening to us. People call it bad luck. But when I say, why not me? I'm flipping that script. I'm talking about those moments when you look at what others have achieved and wonder why you haven't. Why not you? This is a tricky subject because it involves comparison. We constantly measure ourselves against others. What our neighbors have, what our friends have, what X, Y, Z have accomplished. Then we use that to determine our own worth or success. For many years, I watched people, whether they were my classmates or we started all at the same time, or people I hired, just starting their careers and absolutely thrive. Their careers took off. And honestly, I couldn't have been happier for them. But a small voice inside me still wondered, why not me? Why did I stay in these positions or in these jobs? Why didn't I pivot left, right, up, or down? Looking back, I know everything happens for a reason. This has nothing to do with how capable you are, how lucky you've been, or your education. Sometimes life hands you lemons, chronic illness, family struggles, emotional wounds that take time to heal. Often, people who seem to be whining at life simply haven't gone through what you have. They learn to live and express themselves differently. Maybe their lessons came in other forms. My father, for instance, was an incredibly talented man, resourceful, loyal, a natural problem solver. But he was loyal to a fault. He stayed with bosses who never truly recognized his worth. He turned down better opportunities out of principle. And I inherited that same sense of loyalty. I learned work ethic and integrity from him. For me, loyalty to friends, family, employers was everything. But I come to understand that loyalty, when misplaced, can work against you. And in my case, it often did. I put others' needs and expectations before my own. So when I see peers rise into impressive positions, roles I had once dreamed of, I remember how much I had wanted those same things. But over time, even the most successful of them faced downturns. Some became entrepreneurs out of necessity. Others had to start over from scratch. Life changed for them too. I've come to believe we choose the lessons we need most. I used to think my career was the main thing I should be focusing on, but I was wrong. I ignored other areas of my life, my health, my relationships, my family. And because I had wrapped my entire identity around work, anytime my career wobbled, I would fall apart with it. Let me tell you, when your job becomes your identity, that's a red flag. You're not your job title. You're a whole, complex, beautiful human being. Comparing ourselves to others only harms us. The only real comparison worth making is with your past self. How far have you come? How much have you grown? Success isn't always tied to a job title. A title doesn't guarantee a high salary. It doesn't promise joy or fulfillment. Sometimes it's just a title. Sure, some people land dream jobs and stay in them for 10 plus years. Sounds like a boomer fairy tale, right? But even millennials I know have managed that kind of stability. As for me, I might have stayed in one place for a decade too, if life hadn't called me elsewhere. Sometimes I moved because I had to survive. Other times I moved because my spirit craved growth, expression, or adventure. And honestly, I found all of that in the many roles I held. At one point, I let go of the dream of becoming X title and shifted my focus inward to peace. I prioritized emotional healing over ambition. I wanted to sleep well at night, to feel calm, to feel joy again. It used to seem normal to me that everyone loved their jobs. I usually did. I found deep satisfaction in my work, especially in creative roles. Some companies gave me the freedom to express myself, and I made the most of it. I created magazines, video, and content that resonated deeply with the audience I served. That gave me energy. Later, working in agencies, I poured that same energy into my clients. I cared about them. I wanted to help them succeed. And when they did, I felt like I had to. But then came a chapter of my life when I stopped thinking about job satisfaction. That shift began after I lost my husband. Suddenly, many things lost their meaning, or at least the meaning I used to attach to them. I had to rebuild from there. I had to find passion again. And to do that, I had to stop comparing myself to others. Stay in your lane, one of my coaches told me. Anna, stay in your lane. And she was right. Each of us has a unique mission, a different path, different talents, different timelines. Yes, maybe I had the potential to become a vice president, a director, or whatever, but I chose something else. I chose healing. I chose growth. And that was the harder path. Now, let me bring a framework that forever changed the way I see myself, and that's human design. Human design teaches us that we each have an energetic blueprint, a design that reveals not only how we are meant to move through the world, but also the gifts that we were born with. When I look at my own chart for the first time, it was like someone handed me a mirror and said, "You haven't been broken. You've just been trying to live someone else's life." Each center, each gate, each channel in my design whispered truths I'd always sensed but never fully claimed. I began to understand why I needed creative freedom, why loyalty mattered so much, why I felt a deep pull toward emotional healing, and why I couldn't follow a conventional path no matter how much I wanted to. Human design reminded me that I was never meant to climb the ladder in a straight line. I was built to pivot, to initiate, to inspire. One of my gifts starting things from scratch, not just professionally, but emotionally, spiritually, personally. That's not a flaw, that's a sacred assignment. I stopped trying to mold myself into someone else's formula for success, and I started honoring my design. So if you're feeling lost or wondering why your journey has taken a different route, look at your design. Maybe you're a generator, here to master your craft over time. Maybe you're a projector, here to guide, not to grind. Maybe you're a manifestor, here to initiate and break new ground, even if the roads gets lonely. Or maybe you're a reflector, absorbing the world and showing us what's working and what isn't. Whatever your type, whatever your gifts, they are not accident. Your energy, your timing, your path, it's all aligned with a deeper intelligence. I wish I had this knowledge back then, when every emotional trigger felt like a landslide. I wish I had the peace I've cultivated today. But everything happens in divine timing. And now I see myself as someone who survived incredibly hard seasons. I stayed healthy. I kept going. So the next time you compare yourself to someone else, stop. Come back to yourself. It's about you. Even if your family was always comparing, oh, your cousin is better, or your friend did this, you can let go of that narrative. You can start fresh. You can release old beliefs and heavy emotions. You can find clarity. Looking back on my career, I see my gifts clearly now. I've always been someone who could start something from scratch and been genuinely excited about the process. I thrive on creative work. I thrive on connection. And especially when I had clients I loved, I would flourish. Some of them even became lifelong friends. I was deeply committed. I loved what I did. And as a generator, it's important to have passion for what you do. And if you're trying to find that passion again, if you want to reconnect with your gifts, dive into your human design. Start listening to your own inner authority. Trust your strategy. So, the top three takeaways from Why Not Me is number one, your path isn't linear because it was never meant to be. Your journey is uniquely yours. If you have zigzagged, paused, restarted, or veered off the traditional path, that's not failure, it's alignment. Especially when viewed through human design, your energetic blueprint might be wired for initiating as a manifestor, guiding as a projector, responding as a generator, or flowing with change, reflector. Honor that. Your timing is divine. Number two, comparison blocks your gifts. Every time you compare your timeline or success to someone else's, you dilute your energy. Your power lies in staying in your own lane, where your design can express itself naturally. The gifts you came here with, whether creative innovation, emotional depth, strategic vision, or relational genius, can only flourish when you're focused inward, not sideways. Your true success is measured by alignment, not titles. Let go of external validation. Fulfillment doesn't come from job titles, applause, or societal benchmark. It comes from expressing your gifts in a way that feels true to you. When you live according to your design, you experience peace, satisfaction, success, or surprise, not because of what you do, but how you do it. So, if you're interested in this topic of human design or want to reach out for a specific topic, get in touch.